Delta State, and who is also the national chairman of the PDP Campaign Council for the 2020 re-election of Governor Godwin Obaseki. Your Excellency, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
So we also have Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State in the studio. You're welcome, sir.
Thanks.
We also have His Excellency Governor Sheyi Makinde of your state.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
So I'll start with the national chairman of the campaign council. So you've been here for some hours. Could you share with our global audience what you have observed since you came into town, and of course the development since morning when you started the election?
Well, let me thank you very much for this opportunity because as the chairman of the campaign council, at the end of the day, I have to write a report back to the party on our observations and our experiences. So far, as regards to this election, it has been quite peaceful, and I want to commend everybody that's involved for maintaining that peaceful disposition, which is what our party has always preached. And like I've also said before, that in most cases, problems do not arise during vote. Problems arise during the collation. As you can see down, that we have gotten results from what less than 2,000 polling units from the various wards. And for what the intelligence was gathered, INEC, who has promised, and I do believe they will maintain to that promise of being transparent, that everything will be shown, the world will see. But we are getting a bit worried why in INEC they appear to say that they've only gotten about 300 units, which is not correct. And I think that that calls for worry. And we don't believe that INEC can say that they've gotten about 300 results for the various units. It's more than 2,000 that we have. And we're happy with the way the election has gone. Very much happy. And as I speak to you, we're all believing that at least this will show the world that INEC and INEC is prepared to conduct a free and fair election. Again, as we speak now, they ought to have moved to the collation center, the ward collation center, before they go to local government collation center. You cannot find security presence in the ward collation centers. And so that gives us problem now. That look, why is it that you can't find security agencies in the ward collation centers? After the results have been announced in the polling units, they moved the results to the ward collation centers. And we believe that the security presence should be more in the ward collation center. So I urge the IG and security agencies to move their men to the ward collection centers so that they can protect the results coming in from the various units and the various wards. So that is where I feel concerned now. If they can move security men to the ward collection centers so that the various wards can be collected before it is now moved to the local government collection center. And also they should send security presence, because the people have made up their mind. They have decided whichever way. So we should be able to make sure that people's vote count by making sure that they are everywhere. Where people have voted, the coalition shouldn't be a problem. But you know that in our electoral process, where we have problem mostly is in time of coalition. So we need them more now at the coalition centers so that the people's mandate will be protected.
So this is a call on INEC to do the needful at this time. Okay, sir, do we have any other option in the event that security remains lax all through the night? Can the voters, form a fence of some sort around, their wards, their collation centers?
Well, if you listen to my discussion with AIT on Thursday. On Thursday was 16th, 17th of September. I did say that, look, when people have voted, they owe a duty to make sure their votes are protected. And so, if at the end of the day, they are not seeing security men around the collation centers to make sure the collation is being done, obviously, the people will move there to make sure, look, you must collect the results that has come in. Because they cannot have suffered by coming out and voting at their various polling units. Then you deny them that opportunity for the results to be collected. So the people have the right to say, look, we must protect our votes. And this is what I've always said, that election is not only voting, but protection of the vote is also important. So I believe that the security will do the needful. And then the people also should be vigilant. In fact, I would say extra vigilant to make sure that the votes, the votes that have been counted at the various polling units are collected at the various collation centers. So I still believe that the security people will do the needful, but the people should also not, sit at home. They must go and make sure that our votes are collected. That they are collected, they've been counted and declared at the various units. Make sure they are finally collected and announced at the various ward collection centers, then move to the local government collection center before it is now moved to the state collection center.
Your Excellency Governor Okowa, can we have your thoughts on this?
Well, I think the governor of Rivers State has said quite a lot. We are quite happy thus far the way INEC has conducted the elections. But as he did say, at the point of collation, we are worried. We are worried, and I think that this is the time for the top officials of INEC to put a call to their collation officers to ensure that only the right things are done. Because we've been at the situation room, and from the reports we are getting from the field, as a party, political party, the People's Democratic Party, we are very happy with the results that we are getting, but we are definitely very worried that at the collation centers, yes, we need the security, and it's important that the security lives up to expectation. They've done well thus far by being able to see the process through at the time of voting, and we only had very few incidents. But they need to ensure that they stay on top of the game by providing adequate security. But the collation officers at the moment, it's important to put on the alert that they must live to defend the votes of the people, because they must collect the right results that come in from the field. And it's very, very important that the INEC officials, including the electoral officers, the collation officers, and all other persons who are supposed to be at the various ward and local government collation centers, that they are put on the alert. And we're hoping that these things will be put in place, and that no room will be given for thugs to come in to destroy votes that have already been counted and votes that have already been entered in from ECHA. And it is very important that we sound this caution that this is the time for the security agencies to stay on top of the game and get their people to be at the various collation centers to ensure that the votes cast by the people would be meaningfully protected at the level of the collation.
Your Excellency, Sheyi Makinde, are you also worried?
Well, the people of Edo State have indeed spoken, and they have spoken very loud and clear. And at this point, all we're saying is that the will of the people should remain sacrosanct, and it must not be subverted under any guise. So far, the security agencies, they've done very well. We didn't witness the kind of security issues that we saw at Kogi, so which is good. So we want to say thank you to them. But we've gone this far. We still have a lot more to go. So the security agencies, INEC, they need to do the needful, do the right things. And I'm appealing to them to do it now, because players will come and go. Political parties, here and there. But our country remains. For us to safeguard our democracy in this country, they must do what is right. So that is all I have to say.
I'll go back to University Board. So earlier in the day, there were reports of pockets of crisis or violence, in some parts of the state. How significant do you think, those crises are compared to, in assessing the overall, election?
Well, I've said before, like the governor of Delta said, we've been in the situation room and we've been monitoring what has been going on. We don't expect that you must have 100%, but I can say, frankly speaking, that the incidence of violence is not much, which has been a major factor in our electoral process. And I joined them to say, look, I think we can say the security agencies, they've done quite well in maintaining that there's low incidence of violence. You don't expect that, you cannot find some pockets of violence in 1 or 2 or 3 areas, as the case may be. But overall, you can say, look, they've done quite well to make sure that everywhere was being policed, to make sure that people were allowed to go and vote. So for me, I think that they've done quite well. But again, as regards to voting, voting is not the only part of the electoral process. Now you are moving to the critical period, which is what is more important now, to protect the votes of the electorate that have voted. The collation. And that's where we will now know whether overall that the security have done what they're supposed to do. Because this is the critical period. So now that's time for collation. They must also do what they did at the time of voting, but not allowing miscreants to come and disrupt the collation process. If you have allowed people to vote, then you must also protect the votes that they have casted. It's very, very key. Because if at the end of the day people have come out, spend their precious time, and they have voted, and then the collation will not be done, then everything you have done is to zero. So I believe that they continue what they have done during the voting period down to the collation center. I believe so.
While we are with collation at one level and results, would you say that the Edo election has actually, everything before the stage, before collation, would you say that Edo election will pass for that template that everybody has been talking about, that has a great deal of improvement on how elections are being conducted in Nigeria?
Well, if you say I will be totally wrong to make a general statement when the electoral process has not ended. It will be too quick for me to say that. The mere fact that we have campaigned, even though there are skirmishes here and there, but thank God that it was not such that will affect the election. Now, we have voted, and we say we thank God for the support of security agencies and INEC to have allowed people to vote. Now, if I now say that yes, it has passed that mark, when collation, which is the major issue, had not taken place, then I'll be wrong. But tomorrow you will not say, look, but you said everything went very well. I have told you the campaigns, we thank God, we were able to survive it. The voting, we thank God, there are not much incidents of violence, even though there are some pockets of violence. Now, the crucial stage now is the collation. And until this collation is over, it will be difficult for me to say that everything went well or to give a pass back. No. And like I said, we don't want this election to be inconclusive. This is a critical period now where you see most cases, disruptions, and then it will be declared inconclusive. INEC should maintain that reputation. INEC should fulfill the promise they have made to the people of Edo State that this election will be transparent. Now, we are part of the period of voting, we are not talking about the coalition. So if they have supported for election to take place, they supported for people to vote, and then during coalition, you are not giving support. Obviously, what passport will you give? You will say it is a total failure. Because what is important that at the end of the day, coalition was done, result has been announced. So we don't want to hear anything being inconclusive. There's nothing like inconclusive in this nature.
Governor Okowa, if the security personnel have been around from morning till the end of the month, why are they not at the collation center, at the World Collation Center?
The fact that generally there's a time for transition, we do agree with that because they also have to escort the results from the units to the collation centers. But it's important that they send enough security to the collation center itself because they have a lot of police, they have a lot of security personnel all around, like Nigerian police. They have a lot of them. So they need to send a crack team to each ward collation center while they also leave those that will escort the results to the collation center at the various wards where they are supposed to be at the moment. Because if you leave the collation center a little bit lax, then people can come in and disrupt that process. And that is what we are urging them to avert. It is for the security agencies to ensure that they properly police the collation centers now, while also leaving enough men to escort the results from the units to the collation center. And also, at this moment too, they need to begin to fortify the security at the local government collation centers. Because a whole lot can take place that they know very well, and that they have more than enough men because several thousands of policemen were sent in from various states to this place. Several units of mobile police men were sent in. So they have more than enough men to cover all these areas. So we want to see the visibility of these men at the various centers. And that does not appear to be what the information we are getting from the situation room. So we are calling on them to ensure that every collation center is properly fortified. Since they've done a good job at the level of voting, they need to finish the job so that we can say thank you for a job well done. And then for INEC, first one, they've done well. But the question is, at the point of collation, as Governor Wike said, it's a critical moment and it is a bad. Because if you fail in any of the collation centers, it means that you have shortchanged the people. You didn't make their vote count. So it's a very critical aspect of it. And the collation officers, along with other officers who are the various wards and local government areas, they must be put on the alert to do the right thing so that we can at least say, oh, at the end of the day, INEC, you have done well. But at the moment, we cannot speak about whether they've done well or not because the process is still ongoing. So they need to finish the job that they have started, and then they can get a pat on the back at the end of the day. But we would like, if they're able to continue the way they've gone thus far, through to the collations at the world, local government, and state level, of course, this will go down as one of the best conducted elections, if only they ensure that the collation represents what exactly took place at the units.
Right, Governor Makinde, what role should the media, civil society organizations, and other election observers and monitors that are in town, what role should they also play in policing these votes to the local government elections?
Of course, including civil society, journalists, it's eternal vigilance. This is not the time to relax or to say, voting went on very well until we get to the end of the process. And also, I'm wondering why we can get more results, at the situation room here faster than INEC. So I really want journalists to ask.
But that's contrary to their promise. They have to
ask
promise
INEC.
to deliver results real time.
Exactly. So as the results are being announced at the unit levels, I cannot understand why we have gotten over 2,000 results so far, and at the INEC portal, they're still at about 300. So journalists, civil society people, they should, take this up with INEC. And for our security agencies also, we'll ask. We're not asking for too much. We're just saying that, things should be done accurately and appropriately. So, yes, there'll be a moment of transition, but they should please they shouldn't feel like, they shouldn't get tired. It is not over. Yes, I know it's a lot of sacrifice for our people, but they just have to finish the work.